look at me. Know what you see? See a bad mother. Paid the cost to be the boss.
Hello and welcome, folks, to the first episode of RSF Radio. I'm your host, Joe Monday, and yeah, this is the first episode. The first episode was actually, like, episode 0. I was actually covering the Street Fighter V community feedback thread, but this is the first official episode. We'll figure out the technical stuff later about how this is going to work. But anyway, folks, sorry if I don't bring the energy on the first episode. I kind of feel bad about that. Had a late night last night, long drive from State College back home. I went to see The Weeknd, the musician, the rapper, singer kind of guy. Fantastic show. He was exactly what you want out of a live performance. There was a little bit of spectacle. His performance was good. The band was great. And, little variations on some of the songs that, make it something special, a little bit worthwhile. But I will say, who opened for him, Gucci Mane, was garbage, terrible, trash. Just, when rappers just shout over their own lyrics. So, like, they're not even, like, delivering the rap with the same cadence that they might in the record. So it's not even, like, record quality. It's just him yelling over himself rapping. So it's, like, bad karaoke. But I will say the good thing about Gucci Mane's performance was his DJ had a very nice jacket. I'll say that. It was a very nice jacket. I'll say that much. Well, all right. Enough for an intro. Today is September 7th, 2017, and this is your first episode of RSF Radio. So how's it going to work? I think first off is that we're going to cover things that you might have missed on the sub, some things that seem important, maybe some tech, maybe some announcement posts that might get buried by other things, and maybe you just don't want to check in on the sub every day of the week. That's fine. I don't recommend it. So we're just going to cover just a handful of things that might be relevant to anyone in the FGC or otherwise. So let's actually start things off with a bang. I highly recommend you guys check this out. Chris Tatarian took it upon himself to start up a little charity for disaster relief. I don't know if you guys know this, but things are kind of a hellscape. We're living in the darkest timeline, but people like Chris Tatarian are out there using the power of the FGC to help people out. So I'm actually going to provide the link in the notes, or you can to go here, but also just the link directly to the charity if you feel like, if you are capable of it and you are inclined to give. All of it's going to go to I forget the exact charity that he decided on, but it was one that was recommended by pretty much everyone. Was like, don't give to the Red Cross, don't do that. But he figured that all out, and that will be, I think that'll be active all week, starting from next Wednesday. So next Wednesday, I think it ends. So get your giving in now. We got the hurricane, there was flooding, there's fires. Times are bad, folks, but you don't need me to tell you that. That's not what this that's not what this podcast is all about. All right. Anyway, next topic. Something that I just feel like is important to note out. Something that I've seen has been pretty cool. Someone's been posting these pretty consistently. Incross posted this. You see the title, Rearranges Nikali. Now what that means is he's doing like, what this person does is they take video of every single normal, every single special that a character has, and they run down from top to bottom, like that perfect range they give you. So they're going to give you, like, you'll see it exactly. So, like, it's not exactly, they don't show the actual hitboxes, they just show that range where you're right outside of it. So that's kind of where you would want to stand if you think your opponent's going to throw that particular normal or throw out that particular special. It's just a good, helpful aid if you want to be thinking about footsies in that way. But this one is on Nikali that I'm showing, but he's done a bunch of them. I don't know all the characters exactly who he's gone over so far. However, There's a bunch of them out there, so hit up that playlist and check out those ranges if that's something that you're interested in. All right, moving on. All right. Someone posted this, and it was an interesting question. The title is Looking for Player Insight and How They Find Tournaments by Nagata Lock 2. Basically what he went in and asked the community is, how do you guys find your tournaments? There's a bunch of different ways to find tournaments, granted. A lot of people say Facebook, you can just do a search online, but I think that this thread will be useful to tournament organizers to gain a little bit of data from the community to see maybe what their best ways of advertising their local is. Because how did you find your local? That's basically what this is asking. And also, side note, along with this, TOs who are reading this, there's some pretty like useful information here for TOs. But if you are someone who is looking for a local, need I highlight this? Find your local FGC in the sidebar. Click that link. There's a big spreadsheet of a ton of different locals. There's also listing in the wiki, which I don't have the link up right now, but head on over to the RSF wiki. There's a local listings, lots more locals there. There are ways to find a local on RSF, but this thread poses the question is, well, how did you find your local? So players go answer that question, but also tournament organizers use that information to help advertise your local. All right, next one. This is a fun set between John Takeuchi and Gachikun. It's the Rashid Mir match. I don't know if there are any Rashid players out there who are looking for that top tier tech, but this is the first to 10 you want to watch. These two go at it. First to 10, lots of tech being shown off, lots of running that shit down like a Rashid does. Lots of ham you see in this. It is a fun set to watch. I won't give spoilers as to who wins, but I highly recommend you check that out. It's just a fun match. It's a fun set. All right, moving on. Okay, cool. This was one that was posted by Alex Myers. He actually took some time to post some tech on the front page of our Street Fighter. And basically what he runs down is a close look at Urian's stand hard punch, and really how you would want to go about with punishing it. Maybe why you get crush countered by it so often. Maybe why you shouldn't fear it so often, or because you can start thinking in different ways of how you're going to address that particular normal. He even takes screen caps from. He uses frame data V. Is that it? Or no, he uses frame trapped. I'm sorry, this is frame trapped. Get my apps all mixed up. But you can see, like, there's Urian's hitbox right there. Look at all that red, and all that red is bad news bears. But then you really can't hit him in that situation. That's active for, I think, 3 frames, and this is just level 1, uncharged. Like, you would think that Cammy's Stand Fierce would be good, but really, even at that range, like, this particular frame shows exactly where his hurt box is. And Alex kind of goes into detail as to, how you might want to go about addressing with punishing that normal. And there's some interesting conversation in the comments as well. So seek out that thread. Give Alex a shout out. All right, moving on. This was just a fun little highlight. Don't Jump. Nemo versus Snake Eyes at East Coast Throwdown. A really good match, really fun match, but as the title suggests, maybe you shouldn't jump against Urian, who's got V-Trigger. And if you play Urian, maybe go check out this highlight and steal that tech. He does like a really fun combo that involves fully charged fireballs, EX fireballs, and ends it with an EX tackle. And it's like the perfect amount of damage. It's pretty smooth. Uses the full V trigger on it. So check that out if you're a Urian player. Maybe steal some of that tech. Nemo is definitely one of the players to watch. So Check that one out. And speaking of tech, here's another bit of tech from King Buffalo. This one was posted by 121 Gigawatts on the sub, and there's a bunch of random tech here. And when I say bunch of random tech, there is a bunch of random tech for a lot of different characters, but there's a lot of Laura tech in there. Like, it's really funny how it's edited too, because he fits in the Laura about like halfway through some of the characters, and fits in some other characters, and then he just ends on this massive Laura info dump. So there's, if you want to find a Laura 50/50, you might find one in that particular highlight video. But there's also other cool stuff. Like there's a really interesting Akuma Raging Demon setup in that tech thread. There's some Aegis pressure in the corner with like lots of chip damage. There's a Colin 50/50 where you don't quick rise after knockdown, because a lot of people don't quick rise after knockdown because they expect that snowball to come down on them, but instead this one assumes they're not going to get up and then still gets a 50/50 afterwards. Again, a bunch of Laura stuff. There's a Armika Peach corpse hop in there that is safe because she got Nadeshiko coming in from the top rope, and there's also some Nash corner pressure and a really cool Chun-Li corner combo. So go check that out if you play any of those characters, or just go watch it if you're interested in tech. And it's really good edited video. King Buffalo does a really good job, so I highly recommend you check that out. And you just show King Buffalo some love. Like and subscribe to his channel, not this one. All right, moving. Speaking of channels you should like and subscribe to, Baphael out with a new tech thread. This time, brand new one on Manat. So if you're looking for those bread and butters, like practical ones, not just like, as you know, after a character comes out, when it's a brand new character, you see all these like 100% kill combos with one reset starting with like 2 crush dumb stuff. You see a lot of dumb impractical stuff. But what this one does, it goes in and just shows you maybe some stuff that could be practical and how you might want to work it into your game if you plan on playing Manat. It starts because she's a difficult character to wrap your mind around. She has some with that orb and her V trigger act like really different from any other character in Street Fighter V. So go check that out if you plan on playing her, but also maybe go check that out to see what she's even capable of. And also give Baphael some love. That dude puts in so much work. He's been editing videos for SRK, and go check that out. Go give my boy some love. All right, what's next? Oh, all right. So that actually ends it for the highlights of the week. We're just going to go in, take the whole week, get some highlights, just grab a handful of things. There might be more next time. Who knows? Just grab these ones throughout the week. But the next section is questions. I'm going to take some questions that I see from the sub, or if people ask me these questions directly. And a lot of the times they're just me common stuff that is pretty old hat for a lot of people, but some other people it might just be like maybe you didn't know it. So we're just going to go over some simple stuff first. Keep it simple. This section might get longer in the future. We'll see how things pan out in later episodes, but all right, let's get into it. All right, as I said, very simple. Help this beginner out. Asking about input help. Now, if you are starting out and you are a beginner and you have trouble throwing fireballs, there's also like really common mistakes that are made by people who are throwing fireballs that they might be able to do it in practice from standing still, but maybe they're walking forward and then trying to throw a fireball. Like walk forward, low forward into fireball. A lot of people who think they would just do low forward fireball, if you only do that, you'll do it 10 out of 10 times. You can't not do it wrong. But then you try to walk forward, low forward into fireball, crouching medium kick into fireball, that is, and you do your crouching medium kick, and then you do DP, and you think, well, I could 10 out of 10 times do that. Why couldn't I do it this one time? And there are techniques that you can use, like you can overextend. You could go to down back instead of just straight down, down back to up forward, and delay that punch a little bit when you get to up forward, because that kind of eats the inputs from the initial forward into crouching medium kick. But I mean, what this person's asking is Salty Waffles. So actually, if you want to help a new player out, maybe hit up Salty Waffles. Maybe go hit up this thread, find this guy, find him on New Challenger. He's probably on New Challenger. If you're a skilled player that wants to help out new players, I highly recommend hopping into New Challenger, because there's a plethora of new players, and not just for Street Fighter V, for other games as well. Pretty much all the major fighting games right now, you'll find coaches if that's what you're looking for. And also, for anyone who's looking at doing basic combos or doing very simplistic input stuff, I highly recommend checking out Geef's Gym. It's in the wiki. It goes step by step. There's over 50 lessons of starting from very basic stuff to where you might want to be in advanced tech. So that covers a very simple topic of just, what do you want to do? And then his second question is, recovering his opponent's attacking him. What he's really asking is, what does defense look like? And a lot of those things are maybe you got to wrap your head around what opponents are doing. Maybe you need a coach to tell you, okay, this is the kind of pressure, maybe just block on wake up, and then explain to them when your turn is over after attacking them. Things like that. Things like Geef Gym cover things like that, but also hop into New Challenger if you are a new player and ask for some help. There's a lot of people out there looking to lend a helping hand. All right, so that's very simple question number one. Question number two, another fun question. We get this one all the time around the sub. And questions like this as well. Riga FTW asks, considering buying a Hori Mini fight stick, the smaller version, it's like $50. And he asks a couple questions. Is it worth the $50? Maybe should they invest into another one of the larger sticks, like the Rat 4, something like that? And the answer to this is, there's a couple of good practical answers to this. Number one is find someone in your local who has one, get your hands on it, and use it. That's the obvious answer, right? Because you just want to get your hands on it, see how it feels. And granted, if you're moving from pad to stick, it's going to feel awkward at first. And also, here's the other thing: if you've been playing on pad and then switch over to stick, you actually have to break down some of the neural pathways in your head, because you think about anti-airing, right? If you've been playing on a pad the whole time and someone jumps at you, if you've been playing for long enough, there's just an auto response to crouching hard punch, or stand light punch, or DP motion, and your hands know that motion on pad. Your hands, when you just pick up a stick, don't know that motion. You haven't taught them that motion. You haven't tied it to looking at someone visually jumping in. So you kind of have to break down some old neural pathways, build up some new ones. So there's a little bit of a learning curve there, where you're just teaching your brain how to rethink how to control this game. So that's one thing. The other thing, after you get your hands on it, maybe it'll feel awkward, but if you want to get hands on something that feels good, there's a certain feel to kind of stick. The weight of it matters. How do you play it? Do you want to play it on your lap? Because if it doesn't have something that will get it to stick, like the Rat 4 has some rubber pads on the bottom that could stick to your leg. Some have a felt on the bottom that'll stick to your pants. It all depends on what you like, how you want it. But specifically this question, with the Rat 4 Mini, I've heard it's good, but really I go about answering this question the same way that I think about buying a guitar for a beginner. Anyone who plays any instruments knows this fact that all beginner level, starter level instruments, the ones that you would buy for $50 at a Walmart or whatever, those instruments are trash. And the way that they handle and the way that they play will actually discourage you from wanting to learn how to play that instrument, because it's physically harder to play. The strength required to push down on the frets of a guitar, of a $50 guitar, is actually way harder than even a moderately like more expensive guitar, like get like a low level Fender, even one that was made. They have like cheaper ones that were made in like Mexico and stuff that play like just as well and sound just as good too. That's the other thing; they sound better. Same thing is true with fight sticks. You need that base level investment to get something that feels good, that's made with good parts, that just doesn't feel like it's going to come apart on you, that is easy for you to touch and play, and it feels good. Those things matter when it comes to things you're controlling with your hands. The feel matters. So I always recommend people, if you're going to go in, go in. Don't go halfway. And hey man, these things have good resale value as well. Like you can just like knock off $50 or whatever and resell it. It's, especially if it's hardly used at all, they maintain value. And just so you can sell these things on eBay and things like that, there's a little bit of shipping costs because they might be happy if you don't have a local, you can just give it to someone. So I always recommend just going all in. If you're going to go in, no half measures, just all full measures all the time. All right, so that does it for the questions segment. Again, that might be longer in the future, depending on if people want to ask me questions directly, or I'll just pull them from the sub. We'll see how things go. But the last segment, fun segment, we're going to do a little bit of FGC history. I'm going to find some historic matches from days gone by, and maybe explain a little bit as to like why they're important, why they're cool, and we'll talk about like, you know, what are the circumstances, what are the stakes, and why they might be impressive moments. A lot of people might think, well, why don't you show you a moment of 37? Nah, not about that. Let's start with a GIF highlight. Hell yeah, folks. I'm talking about Snake Eyes versus Team NorCal, basically. This was SCR of 2014, where it was a 5v5, NorCal versus SoCal. And as you can see where the video is right now, it's like an hour and a half long video. It's a 5v5, so it's a long set. And I suggest starting it at the halfway. I mean, there's some really good, interesting stuff in the early half of it, but the extra special thing comes in about like 47 minutes in, when all of Team Wednesday Night Fights is out. It's just Snake Eyes, and it's not even just the way that he comes back. It's not that he goes on to reverse OCV. So like, spoiler alert, Snake Eyes demolishes Team NorCal. It's the tech that he uses. It is how he beats them. I mean, look at just give you an idea of the teams here that we're talking about. So Team Wednesday Night Fights was Chris T, Mark Teddy, Snake Eyes, Kino, and Filipino Man. So those people were beaten by PR Balrog, Ricky Ortiz, Huda Man, Cubano Loco, and LPN on Team NorCal. And Snake Eyes comes in, last man standing. He's got Team SoCal on his back, and he bodies everybody. He's got the footsies against Ricky Ortiz. He's got the mind games against LPN PR Balrog. He goes ham on El Cubano Loco. But then it's that Honda though, right? With Huda Man. That's a tough matchup for Zangief in Street Fighter 4. This was AE. Street Fighter 4 AE. That was the version of the game. Honda's pretty strong. He's kind of nerfed in that version, just a little bit. It got a little worse for Honda, but hey, after that. But still, tough matchup for Zangief. And that is the last matchup of the night, and it is nail biter right to the very end. Very exciting match. I highly recommend you go watch this. Even if you're not familiar with Street Fighter 4, James Chen and Ultra David on mic go into really talking about these matchups in particular during the set. It's informative, it's fun, and it's just an exciting comeback. Even knowing the end, even knowing that Snake Eyes comes back to body Team NorCal, it is still an exciting match. Highly recommend going to watch that. I'll provide the link in the comments below. So go check it out after listening to this. All right, folks. And that just about does it. It just about does it for our show. Again, I'm Joe Monday, and this has been the first episode of RSF Radio. Plan on making this a weekly thing. It's probably go up on either Thursdays or Friday. I'm not even sure when it's going to go up yet. We'll get some fun music stuff, maybe some imagery to go along by instead of just these lights, but we'll see. And we'll see if we need to add segments or take away from some. But hey, let me know in the comments. If you want to see more of something, want to see less of something, hit me up. Let me know. And I'll change the show to best fit the community. Maybe we'll do like FGC spotlights. Speaking of which, hit up the love for Space City Beatdown. It's a monthly in Houston, Texas. They got hit bad. They were underwater earlier this week. But on the 9th, a couple days from now, they're putting on a show. So that is the strength of the FGC down there. So go show them some love in the meantime. Go hit up that thread that Chris T posted. Go donate if you're able to and you're willing to help some disaster relief. And again, that will do it for our first episode of RSF Radio. Until next time, folks, take care.